Cadillac announced its 2025 IMSA GTP driver lineup with 3 entries between Wayne Taylor Racing and Action Express Racing. Now, starting with Cadillac, Wayne Taylor Racing, they'll continue to field 2 Cadillacs after leaving Acura as well. Now, in the number 10 Cadillac, we'll see an unchanged lineup for the full season with Ricky Taylor and Philippe Albuquerque returning. Now, for the first time in a couple of years, Will Stevens will return to the team as the endurance driver for Daytona, Sebring, and Petit Le Mans. Now, then, Brendan Hartley completes the number 10 team's lineup. We'll do a one-off at Daytona. That's going to end well because Megan Burch is in the commentary box. Anybody who doesn't know that, Megan and Brendan Hartley always seem to have a curse with each other. He always retires whenever she's in the commentary box, every time. Jordan Taylor and Louis Delatraz are back in the number 40 Cadillac with plans for Alex Lynn to run the endurance races. Now, completing the driver lineup for Daytona will be Kamui Kobayashi. Now, Action Express Racing will look a little different with the departure of Pippo Durrani. However, Jack Aiken will return for the full season in the number 31 V-Line Engineering Cadillac. Aiken's new full-time co-driver is Earl Bamber, who moves over from Cadillac's WEC program. Then Frederick Vesti joins Action Express for the endurance races, and at a later date, a 4th driver will be announced for Daytona. The graphics in this section courtesy of Cadillac, Wayne Taylor Racing, and Action Express Racing. That was a long one to read in the script with the tooth. So, what's your opinion on Cadillac's 2025 IMSA GTP driver lineup, Kobe?
Well, I'm going to start off by pointing out one of the first things I saw in the press release. I know we've already touched on this. I believe it was last week or the week before when we actually looked at the entry list for next year's racing in IMSA. Cadillac, Wayne Taylor Racing. What happened to Wayne Taylor Racing with Andretti? Yeah, we still need some more clarity on that. I haven't seen that anywhere in the press release. Maybe that's a sign that Grid Network needs to reach out to a representative at Cadillac, Wayne Taylor Racing and ask for ourselves. So I'll put that on my to-do list for the week because I would like to know if Andretti is involved, is remaining involved with this program. I just think it's very interesting that the Andretti name is no longer listed with the Wayne Taylor Racing team, but regarding their driver lineup, I think they made the right call to bring back their driver lineups from this year. I think Ricky Taylor, Philippe Albuquerque, they've been working together for a few seasons now. I think they have some really good chemistry going on. So why would you want to get rid of that? Louis Delatraz, Jordan Taylor, I think they also work really well together. It's a little surprised to see Will Stevens returning. I know Will Stevens when he ran with, I believe might have been 2022, raced with them in the 12 hours of Sebring. He made a blunder that ended up costing them the race, and Wayne Taylor was not happy after that. So after that happened, I was thinking Will Stevens is probably not going to drive for this team again. So I'm surprised that they're actually bringing him back. But I guess second chances are good, and we know Will Stevens is a solid race car driver. And then Brendan Hartley, it makes a lot of sense, just bring him back for Daytona as well. He's definitely one of the best that there is in prototypes. And Alex Lynn, he's been running with Ganassi in the World Endurance Championship, so he's familiar with this Cadillac and the hypercar side of things. So that makes a lot of sense. Kamui Kobayashi for Daytona, that's your cheat code right there. I know it's too early to be thinking about pick a winners for the Rolex 24 at Daytona, but if I see Kamui Kobayashi on a driver lineup at Daytona, I'm probably going to be thinking about that number 40 when it's time for our pick a winner, because Kamui Kobayashi at Daytona, that's the type of driver and track you need to just sit down, eat some popcorn, and just enjoy the show, because he is marvelous around Daytona International Speedway and Action Express Racing. I know they're going to be making a lot of changes with personnel and obviously drivers. I see today after this was announced, Action Express put out a flyer basically on social media saying that they have several positions open for next year. So if you're like in engineering and all of that and looking for or mechanic and looking for a job, visit Action Express Racing social media pages, because they are hiring right now, as they try to turn around their program, because it's honestly been a struggle for Action Express in recent years. I remember we used to see Action Express always in the championship hunt, but for some reason within the last year or so, it seemed like they've fallen off, in terms of performance. So they definitely want to get back in the thick of it when it comes to a championship. Yeah, so Pippo Durrani and Jack Aiken, they didn't really have the best year in GTP in 2024, but with Durrani moving on, we still don't know what Pippo's going to do next year. Looking forward to seeing when he announces his plan. I think it makes sense to bring Jack Aiken back. And Earl Bamber, excited to see him back in IMSA as well. I think Earl is a strong driver. Looking forward to seeing what him and Aiken can do. And then Frederick Vesti, really happy to see him get an endurance seat like this. I know since Frederick Vesti was in Formula 2, we've been wondering, like what's next for his future. Unfortunately, it looks like Formula 1 may not be in his future. I think Frederick Vesti, definitely is the caliber of talent who deserves to be in Formula 1. But if that's not going to work, I think getting a seat with Cadillac here with Action Express Racing is the next best thing. I'm sure he's going to bring a lot to that program. And in regards to the fourth driver in Action Express driver lineup, who knows? Maybe they'll go out and pull, a superstar driver. And because we've seen that before. Remember 1 year Action Express race, then brought out Chase Elliott to get in that car. Obviously brought a lot of eyes to the event. So maybe we'll see sports car veteran in that seat, or maybe they decide to get a big superstar from a different type of racing series. I'm sure Action Express Racing will definitely have a good driver, whoever it is.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Because they've got their links with the NASCAR paddock of Action Express and with Hendrick Motorsport. You mentioned Chase Elliott. Maybe we can see Kyle Larson in that car, perhaps at the beginning of the season as the fourth driver. Interesting one on Vesti. He's been doing the European Le Mans series this year. So maybe he's going to be dovetailing his endurance running in IMSA with a full season again in ELMS. There's only, 5 races now, isn't there, with the Indianapolis race added in this year as the endurance races, so plenty of time to go and do something else. We talked about the Meyer Shank lineup last week on the show, or the week before, I can't remember now, my memory's scattered. And we've talked about all these lineups already on the show tonight. The IMSA paddock is in a great place, isn't it, for driving talent? It is absolutely stacked at the front end of GTP for next year, and that's only with sort of not even half the grid announced. Bamber and Lynn coming back from the WEC program and going separately to these two teams that we just talked about is big for both of them. As you mentioned, Kobayashi is stand back two more feet from the fence every time he gets in the car because something crazy is probably going to happen. So that'll be interesting in the dead of night in Florida in January. But the full season lineups for all of those teams, just the two guys, are really, really good. We know Ricky Taylor and Philippe Albuquerque can do in the 10. Just Wayne Taylor Cadillac. I just got used to them being Acura, and now they change manufacturer again. Is going to be something to get our tongues around for the beginning of next season. But as I say, it is just fully stacked in the whole of that GTP paddock for IMSA for next season. And as we talked about when we talked about Daytona a couple of weeks ago, we can't wait for it already.
Less than 100 days now until that Daytona 24-hour race as well. I'm looking forward to it as well. Let's see. It's going to be quite fun.